news, we break it all down. The Vault Studio, the best show in town. Best show in town, best show in town. Lights on, mic check, game time, let's go. Jay George, Scotty running the show. Rock on the mix, keeping it tight. NFL talk every day, every night.
And welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast. I'm one of your very handsome hosts, JA, and I'm joined by Big Georgie to the left of me, Big Scotty, medium-sized Scotty, and little Brocky on the ones and twos.
Big Scotty,
Big Scotty. Just compared to you, like we got to.
Everyone's small compared to me.
It's
It's a large, medium, small situation here, George.
Yeah.
Let the man have it.
And I'm
That's all right.
schmedium.
Just hide it under a hoodie. It's all right.
I'm schmedium.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
baggy.
I'm baggy. I'm a strong wind from flying
You're
away.
a wingsuit.
I didn't. Well, absolute snipes. I was going to attack you guys, but it's
Snipes
turned
in
on
the
me this week.
First up.
No, but I thought for this week I didn't want to start with something, towards you guys because there's a bigger thing I want to talk about. People who are on the video are watching us right now. They'll see we're wearing some hats this week from a company called the Men's Table. The Men's Table are a men's mental health program.
Shout out to the Men's Table.
After last week, we obviously spoke a little bit at the start of the show about Men's Mental Health Month, and I put a couple of clips up of us talking about it, and we got a lot of response and some response from some long-time listeners. Jer in Ireland sent me a really nice message
Shout out to Jer.
about
Shout
some
out, Jer.
stuff that was going on for him that he's sorting out, which good on you, Jer.
I
Get
love
after
that.
it.
I love that, by the way.
And yeah, it was just really nice. It was nice I didn't think that we'd have the impact we had with it. It was nice. I said, if we could impact one person's life with mentioning something like this, then I think that's a great thing. And then George had the great idea, which was an awesome idea, which is rare for you.
Very
to reach
I
out.
want that noted. It's very rare.
He said, why don't you reach out to some men's mental health programs? And I sent a few companies the clips. All of them responded. I think I said about 5. All of them responded. So we'll be doing more over the next month.
Yeah, I'd like to do this as a month-long thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, so there'll be a new one next week. But the Men's Table was the first one that came back. They sent us out these caps that we're going to wear for the show.
Sexy hats. They even make me look good.
They're actually very
difficult.
Very good quality
Yeah, it's a
hats
beautiful
too.
hat.
Like awesome hats. So
They're doing God's work with us three. That's for sure.
absolutely. And
charity work.
what these guys, you can go to the menstable.org. What they basically what they are is a group of 8 to 12 men. They get together once a month, same time, same place, over a cheap meal to talk and listen about what's going on for them, good and bad, and how they feel about it. I think it's basically, it's a way that men who maybe don't have that sort of camaraderie in their life, which a lot of men don't, unfortunately. We're very lucky. We have a very close-knit group of friends that we can always talk to.
Yep.
Some men don't have that.
Or it might be easy to talk to people you don't know.
Yeah,
as well.
that's actually a really good point.
So it might just be easy to get some advice from people not in your circle or not within your profession or your family, to get an outside perspective on what's happening with your life.
That's an excellent point, Scott, because you're much more
vulnerable.
Well, I think you're much more open to discussing things with strangers than you are with especially personal things with strangers than you are with people that you know closely. So I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. And they sent me through some stats. So in 2024, 55% of men have lived or experienced of suicide. And that comes
way too high.
Yeah.
Way too high.
19% of that is grief and loss, 36% no life purpose, meaning or direction. 26% family or relationship breakdown, 26% employment insecurity, 23% stress from global issues, and 15% financial hardship.
Yeah.
So that's just a bit of a broad view of what men are dealing with and what affects them in their daily life. So it's a really awesome cause. So get around these guys.
Fantastic. Shout out to the Men's Table. I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And make sure you reach out, follow them on Instagram. That's how I contacted them, and they came back straight away. And it's just been a real positive.
I love it.
Positive vibe from them, and they're doing the right thing. So if we can mention it for the next month or so, and I've said to them all that it doesn't have to be for the next month. It can be like a permanent thing. We can every week do something for each program. If they've got a new thing going, a new event they're running or something like that,
sort of
we can mention it.
Yep, absolutely.
And do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, shout out to them, and we'll represent you guys on. We never wear hats on the shows. This is the first time, so shout out to you guys, and let's get into some NFL chat. Good week for the Steelers, I think. They finally landed their man, Aaron Rodgers.
Was he their man, though? I heard some chatter that he wasn't even their first choice.
I heard some chatter that Tomlin basically had to convince him to come and and play for them in the end.
Well,
he wasn't.
Rodgers basically said that. He said one of the main reasons I came was because of Tomlin.
A chat that Tomlin basically, I'm assuming recently, kind of pulled him aside and said, "Yeah, like this is what we got to do. We need you. Like, let's get this done." And their chat, it's been very private, hasn't been leaked or anything like that. Their chat's basically come up as the reason why he's decided to sign.
I feel like this is like an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
I feel like the Steelers probably it came out that they wanted Justin Fields primarily.
Yep.
And it's obvious that that Rodgers wanted anyone else, and they've kind of just gone, I guess we'll have you, and then Rodgers goes, I guess I'll come here, and then
I think it's pretty clear Rodgers wanted to get to the Vikings, but it wasn't going to happen. I think they're obviously going to roll with McCarthy.
How could this possibly end good? Like, how can it possibly end good?
That's
Rodgers
where
doesn't want to be there.
That's where I'm kind of leaning on. Like, is this a disaster waiting to happen?
Well, what I think is going to happen is they get, for the last sort of 5 or 6 years, they've had less than competent quarterback play. I think they're going to get some competent quarterback play out of him, especially if you look at the second half of last season when he started to get rolling a little bit more in New York. They're going to get some competent quarterback play, but I don't think it's going to mean anything. They're still going to probably only win 9 or 10 games. And
maybe makes them a playoff team.
That's like 7 to 8 more than you said last year. So that's improvement.
Well, that is an improvement, but also when you had the ghost of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, at quarterback, like, can you blame me? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, 9 or 10 wins. They'll probably be a wild card team. They're not going to win a playoff game. Like, who are they going to beat?
I don't think they're in that tier. No,
they're not.
Yeah.
And the other thing to think about as well is, what's the solution in Pittsburgh like long term? They're sort of like, they're only worried about what's happening tomorrow or next week. They're not even thinking about what's happening next year, let alone 3 years from now. I just don't understand what this organization is doing.
Well, if they're not smart about the future, they're going to be very quickly going to be like a New Orleans, very capped out with not much flexibility and movement. And that's sort of probably the worst position you want to be in. You want to get ahead of the rebuild and get rid of the guys when they have some sort of market.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, I'm not saying you need to trade TJ Watt, because TJ Watt's like a god to them and he's the face of the city and all that sort of stuff. But like, his brother left the Texans as well.
Yeah, eventually you
have to
leave it. If TJ Watt was smart, and we can just say TJ Watt's holding out for mandatory OTAs now. It's not voluntary.
Yeah.
So he's expected to be there. He's holding out from it. I think their best move with TJ Watt is for him and for them is to trade him for some value to a contender like a Chiefs and Eagles, someone who's like, can we just get one more guy in this building? Like, the Cowboys would probably give up a first round pick for him. Like, that's where he's at. Like, a team that thinks they're on that bubble, that like a Denver, someone like that, like, he'd be perfect there. Like, just add another
Their D-line's still very good. They just don't have the names.
Yeah, so they add a guy like that on. It gives them some star power and it makes that defense even someone like that.
Yeah.
I'll just, on the flip side, I don't disagree with you guys with the Steelers. I'm just trying to look at it from the other perspective. At least as an organization, they're committed to trying to win. Like, I respect that in some ways that, it hasn't worked out for them. We know haven't had a losing record for a long time. They made the playoffs last year. I know you cop a lot of flack for saying they were only going to win 2 games. I thought they'd be terrible last year as well. I said the same thing. I think if you can get better quarterback play, if you back that Rodgers is going to give you better quarterback play than what Russell Wilson did, which I believe he can.
Yes.
I think he's going to be a more polished player. He's going to be a cleaner player. He's going to play a system a lot better.
He can move the ball down the field just with his arm.
Yeah.
I've
got probably a bigger holistic issue with the Steelers than...
That's the problem. It's a holistic issue is the problem. I think on this season, but what I don't get is you bring DK Metcalf over. Great. I didn't hate that move.
And then team him up with
Pickens. Then you trade off Pickens, but then you sign Aaron Rodgers. So they're just inconsistent in their decision making, and that's what's throwing me off.
I'm going to flag what you said before about committed to winning. Like, are they though?
Yes, they are. They're committed to winning now. They want to be. They want to.
They haven't won. Okay, that's fine, but they haven't won a playoff game in 10 years.
Yeah, but they could argue there are teams that haven't made the playoffs for 10 years. They could argue that there are. A lot of teams' philosophy is we make the playoffs, we give ourselves an opportunity to do something. So their first goal is let's make sure we're a playoff team. That's what the Steelers. They're a proud
When's
franchise.
The last time the Jets were in the playoffs?
Rex Ryan.
2006, 2007.
They're teams that don't make it.
Let's say that I agree with you.
Yeah.
Is that going to win them a Super Bowl?
No, but not every team has Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah, but a team like Pittsburgh should.
No, but they can't. They're not good enough.
Pittsburgh have won it.
Okay, they're not good enough. I agree with you. So what are they doing about it?
Well, they're just saying in the middle, and this is what the issue is.
Yeah, but but I don't agree with
that
that.
how many
approach.
teams and I see your point, but how many teams have rebooted time and time again, and now they're perennial losers?
Yeah, at least they're trying to avoid that chasm that a lot of
Yeah.
teams get stuck in.
Yeah,
I
but
respect that.
I'd rather take the swing trying to win than just staying in mediocrity.
But what's the swing? There's no swing.
So what do they
for
do this
them.
year with that? If they don't sign Aaron Rodgers,
so
what's the move?
What I would
Just
have
play-
done? What I would
play Rudolph and
can I-
bottom
can I
out?
yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have traded for
Metcalf.
Metcalf.
Yep.
I still would have traded Pickens and got the pick.
Yep.
I would not have signed Rodgers. I would have wheeled out Mason Rudolph. I would have won 3 games, and I would have picked a fucking quarterback and go.
And then
started
just trade
it.
everything.
And then back to you
Trade
guys.
as many people with value as you can. I would have traded TJ Watt and got a first round pick and maybe a second or whatever.
Yep.
And then I'm going into this draft with 2 first round picks, 2 second round picks,
And then
and
rebooting.
rebooting.
You wouldn't
and
even have to
Everyone
move. You wouldn't even
that I
have to
can.
move.
And I would have
Watt
said to
that.
Tomlin, thanks for everything, but the next hotshot offensive guru that's out there, which we're going to find out in this upcoming season,
Yep.
I would have said, I want him, and I want my quarterback that I'm going to pick, Arch Manning or whoever else comes.
Well,
I think comes good.
Arch Manning said he's actually not declaring for the draft.
Or
next year.
whatever,
But-
that's irrelevant. Whoever like the stud
Whoever the guy
quarterback is,
Yeah.
marry him with him and go.
But the
At least you're
issue,
giving yourself an opportunity.
the issue with that is you've got a coach and a GM that answer to an owner. And if you take this plan to the owner and the owner goes, I'd rather have bums in seats. We sell out our stadium every single home game.
Mm.
We're a proud team. We travel well. Our fans go to the other teams' home games and we take over with the terrible towels and all that sort of stuff. They don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose, like the owners don't really care about the product on the field. Let's be honest. They just care about the revenue. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, but
Oh,
they're gonna-
I
they're
don't
gonna
think the
rep-
Steelers do. I don't think the Steelers owners are wealthy beyond time. Like I think the way they keep coaches, they're actually committed to building like that holistic where a
That
football
culture.
program would
But-
build a culture. But I think they don't know when to let go.
Well, this is where I was saying before about the holistic issue with the Steelers are that, and I said before, they've lost their identity.
Yes, that's
That-
the problem.
Their identity was smash mouth football. Will beat you up on defense. Will force you to make issues. But now that defense is extremely old and not as talented. They let talent go out the door because they're too cheap to pay guys.
Mhm.
And then it happens season after season. And now they're just, to quote what kids say, they're just mid. Like
Yeah,
and now they're just
Yeah, they are. They're the epitome of mid. They
Yeah.
are.
so. And now you should have rebooted probably this time last year.
also a very tough division. Like the Ravens are the best team in that division.
Yeah.
The Browns are no slouches, and the Bengals, if they can sort out some issues that they've got, they've got Joe Burrow. They've got
Exactly.
every opportunity to be a playoff team next
Exactly.
Yeah, but you could make that argument for probably 5 to
No, no,
6 divisions.
year. I'm just saying that now, when you've got Lamar and Burrow in your division,
Yeah.
now is the time,
To bottom
To
out.
bottom out.
That's exactly my
and
point.
they're missing their time because they might be bottoming out in 3 years' time if they keep doing this. When the Ravens or the Bengals are rebooting, and then you're in the same, then you might have the same issue again.
Yeah.
Well, imagine how bad the Bengals are going to be without Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I mean.
That's
Like,
something you got to be monitoring.
yeah, the trade talk there, they can't get anything right at the moment. So
Yeah.
I think I like that Rodgers is playing for Pittsburgh this year. It makes sense. They need a quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. It gives them an opportunity to be at least they're going to be watchable. They'll be an okay team.
I think
Then-
they'll be watchable for the first month, and then we're going to see that Rodgers is. Oh wait, like what are you doing, man? You're pinning your hopes on Najee Harris, who hasn't had a good season.
Najee Harris
Who
plays
was
for the Chargers now.
And they
No,
got Warren.
Najee Harris
Who,
walked.
who's their running back? they
Warren.
signed?
Warren. They didn't.
and
they
they drafted
a guy.
Johnson, I think his name is.
You said it last week. The guy who they
Yeah.
drafted, who's
What are you doing? You're pinning your hopes on a 42-year-old Rodgers. Like, come on, bro. What are we talking about?
And a very bad aging defense.
yeah. So their running backs are
Caleb
Warren
Johnson.
and Caleb Johnson.
That's
Caleb,
right, yeah.
there's a lot of hype around Caleb.
Oh,
Johnson.
Gainwell. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Oh,
Gabe-
yeah.
Gainwell's he's an okay role player.
Yeah.
And then they've got Trey Sermon, who was very good for the Niners at one point, and then injuries took him apart. But I said it's just not an overly talented roster. DK Metcalf, I like him on a good team. I
Yes.
think the Metcalf, if they had Pickens still and you were like, okay, they didn't trade Pickens, they re-signed TJ Watt, get him in the building, they bring in Rodgers, and you're like, okay, I can see them. Everything's aligning for what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Right now, they let guys leave the building. They signed Patrick Queen for way too much money last year, who's
Yep.
a solid linebacker, but he's not worth the money they gave him because
Yep.
they wanted to steal him from the Ravens.
He's a weak
Ravens-
side linebacker. He's not a middle linebacker.
Exactly.
That's his biggest issue.
And the Ravens just slotted in a new linebacker to play next to Roquan, and he did a great job.
Mm.
Like, that's what the good teams do. They just find those guys to fill those roles.
Very good point.
And this is the difference. They just seem to have to swing to the fences all the time. Their offensive line's not overly good. It's okay. Broderick Jones is an okay player. Far too
Frazier's all right. Frazier's got a lot. of
Frazier's a great rookie, and
Yeah.
then Fatanu, who played late
Fatano's
last
fine.
year and
Yeah,
played
yeah,
really
yeah.
well as a rookie
Yep.
down the late in the season. But other than that, I'm not like actually it's Isaac Seumulo who was an Eagles guy. He's
Yes.
quite good too.
Yeah, he's
but
good. Yep.
they just the direction doesn't make sense to me. One way they're moving on from guys, then they're bringing in Darius Slay.
I
just
feel like
doesn't
they're
make
always
sense.
going to be handcuffed by having an Arthur Smith offense.
Yeah, well, no, that's
And then you got an Arthur Smith who's like a motion mobile quarterback sort of eccentric offense, and then you're running Aaron Rodgers out there that's going to be running for his dear life on his ancient legs.
That's the thing. Like, I don't have any faith in Arthur Smith either. He's continually shown us that other than when he was at the Titans,
And he had Derrick
never,
Henry.
Yeah, he's never been a.
He
competent
really needs to
offensive
give Derrick Henry
quarterback.
a really nice present. He's had a good career out of that.
Yeah, I think he has too. All right, let's get to the next topic, which is
And also
Sorry.
shout out to Rogers getting married. Shout out to him.
yeah, that was the strangest thing ever.
It's so weird.
He rocked up to training and he had a wedding ring on. They're like, oh,
Is that a
wedding ring. He's like, yeah, it's a wedding ring. Oh, when that happened? Oh,
A couple months
a couple
ago.
of months ago. It's like,
And then
he's
like,
just a private dude, I guess.
and they're like,
Like,
congratulations. He's like, thanks.
yeah,
And
he
then
just,
they
it
moved
was so. Like, who is it? Is he going out with it? Last time I heard, he was going out with Shailene Woodley, the actress.
I have no idea who that is.
That was like 2
on.
years
I don't know
ago.
who that is. Brock
So he's a
will
very,
tell us.
he's a very private guy.
He's a resident celebophile. He'll tell us who that is.
I guarantee you, Brock follows his new wife on Instagram already.
Let me find out, and I don't reckon I will.
No, it's
Oh,
very
no.
secret. Very secret.
I've seen your following. I don't know.
All right. the
Why are you such a
next-
fan of me, George? Let's dive into this.
All right, no.
We'll
Let's
keep that
let's
off
leave
air.
that.
Just quietly, Brock's mic sounds very crisp this week with a
Yeah.
handy little upgrade for
Shout
the
out.
boy. Had to look
Shout out.
after my guy.
We're making moves.
I
here.
couldn't have him blowing my eardrums every time he
We're
jumped
making
onto the
moves
mic.
at the Volt Studio.
Blow something else.
Whoa. All right, let's get to Jair Alexander. He's been released by Green Bay.
Are you surprised by this?
No, I think this has been
Nah.
coming. I thought it was going to happen last year.
Mm.
He,
Well, he wanted a trade last year.
yeah, since he got his contract, which I think was 4 years, 80 million, he's played 14 games.
Yeah.
It's not enough games. Like teams, when they're paying you a lot of money, when he plays, he's fine. But I
Well,
think
he's an
this-
all pro when he plays. He's a genuine all pro.
I think this is a matter of them. Let's let go of him. Obviously, there was no trade offers because they
Mm.
did try and trade him.
Mm.
Let's let go of him a year too early than a year too late. I just think
good teams too.
yeah, the money's too high. They clearly think they've got a couple of other guys that can maybe perform, and they know that because he never plays.
Mm.
So they've
And he was
seen
owed
other
like
guys
16
play a
million
lot.
or something.
Yeah,
for
and it
this
was a
upcoming year.
massive
Yeah.
cap hit. And when you see guys like Horn and
Stingley.
Stingley and PS2
Yep.
earning 25 million a year, and then
And
this
he wants
guy's
to
going to earn 20 million. It doesn't match up anymore.
Yeah.
It's just that corner is one of the toughest positions to play for a long time. Like the
Yeah.
guys that play corner for a long time, it's so hard to do because you lose a step, it makes it really challenging.
It's a bit of a
So-
cliche too, but your best ability is availability.
And
Like,
that's-
if you're not-
definitely.
you're not playing like you can't.
and I think
Definitely.
that's where Green Bay got tired of it.
Yeah.
I
You,
can't
you're
And they've
just
done this
never on the
before.
field for us. We're paying you a
Who
lot
was-
of money. You're never on the field.
Who was the guard that held him hostage for a long time as well?
The tackle David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, Bakhtiari,
that,
yeah.
that wouldn't play on turf. And
Yeah,
all
that's
that.
right.
And funnily enough, he got cut and
No
no
one
one's
picked
ever
him up.
signed him.
Yep.
He was an all pro tackle.
Yep.
Had a year where he got injured, then wouldn't play in and out.
Yep.
And they just went, no, we're just done
I'm
here.
done with you.
And that's, again, good teams that are confident in what they do as a program, confident in how they can coach guys up, how they can find other players to fill roles. They'll just think, well, we got a rookie here that looks good. Let's just move on.
We're not putting up with
And they've been
shenanigans.
dominating the comp pick game. Like them and Dallas, to nerd out a bit, but them and Dallas have been dominating the comp picks. So they just keep getting all these guys coming in the building, developing them, and then you can let these guys go when they cost you a fortune and they're not really performing. You're like, all right, cool, we'll take
And
it.
he had no guaranteed money left. So the cap hit was completely removed.
I think it was he's got a cap hit this year.
It's only like 9 million, though.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
the next year it's gone, which would have been his fourth year, his
correct.
highest amount.
Yes,
So then-
but then he would have been eligible for an extension, and then he
Exactly.
probably wants his 22, 24 million a year.
then we're sitting here going, he's holding out, he's not turning up. To
Exactly.
He wants his
Cut
contract.
bait.
I think they're just. And he'll probably sign. I think.
So yeah, where does he sign? That's the big question.
He'll go to a
Because someone will
contender
sign.
because Green Bay are
Mm.
probably paying him.
I disagree. I think he'll go to. I think this is mercenary mode for
Highest-
Jair
highest
Alexander.
bidder? Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I think
highest
too.
bidder. It wouldn't shock me if he ends up in like Cleveland. They don't have cap though. Like
I'm telling you now, he's going to play for the Raiders.
the Raiders.
Raiders.
I don't think
work.
Pete Carroll.
They got money,
I think a great spot for him would
zone
be
heavy, zone defense.
the 49ers would be a great spot for him with Salah. Salah gets the most out of cornerbacks.
Do they have money though? Nah.
It depends.
I
It depends
wouldn't be
what his
shocked.
expectations are.
Would you be shocked if he goes to like in division to Detroit, so he gets to play Green Bay twice a year?
No, I think Detroit would be.
Yeah.
Detroit should be.
Or
I'm
Minnesota
tipping
with
Dan
the
Campbell has
Flores.
already given him a call because
Yeah.
Dan Campbell doesn't message. You know, he's a call you guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a. I'm going to talk
Old
to you
school.
man to man.
He's not a FaceTime kind
No,
of guy.
he's on the phone.
Yeah.
Hey, when are you getting to Detroit to have a catch up about
Be
this?
interesting to see maybe Buffalo.
Yeah, I think there'll be contenders.
Buffalo
that
has
will
no
want him.
money.
Yeah, Buffalo have no money. The contenders that will want him.
People will find money to get him. Someone will restructure, shave a few million off, get it next year.
It
and
just
then-
depends. If someone comes in and goes, "We'll give you 15 million," like a crappy team, he's going to.
I don't think. I
That's
don't
also the
think
Raiders.
The
anyone.
Raiders could be that team. That
Yeah.
they could be that.
I don't think someone's overpaying because teams are so smart now. They don't pay for the name; they pay for the production.
Yeah, I think so. I think teams got a lot better at that over
Yeah.
the last last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's go to Anthony Richardson, who has a shoulder injury. George wanted me to put that in.
Yeah, it's in.
Very
Um,
important. Very important.
So, what's your thoughts on it, George? Do you reckon it's not really injured?
I'm certain that this is the case. That it was obvious during OTAs that Daniel Jones is so far ahead of him that he's not competent. He can't run the offense. Jones is so far ahead of him. But going back to Scott's point that they don't want to just like bench him because if they do, they're going to lose the player and they're going to, lose the fans. Maybe lose their fucking jobs because they've all drafted him so high. Oh,
and then lose trade value.
yeah. So we'll hide him with the shoulder injury
Mm.
so that everyone doesn't see how badly he sucks.
Do you think Anthony Richardson will sign up for that?
I think the user's going to do what they tell him to do, mate.
I don't know. I don't think as a player that if they come to you and go,
Yeah, but if he's
"Hey, you need to fake a shoulder injury so you don't train," how do you sell that to the player?
Yeah.
How do you sit that guy in the room and go, "He
If
must
the
have
doc-
some
no,
issue"?
he must have some issue,
Some
but I'm
issue.
sure he could just jab it and play or jab it and train.
Bet Stroud had a.
If
Stroud
the
had a
doctor
shoulder
tells him,
injury,
"Hey,
it's
listen,
fine.
you better have mini camp off," but
yeah,
the higher ups have told the doctor have mini camp. This is full tinfoil hat stuff, by the way.
yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely sinful hat because he hasn't just gone to like any like the local GP. He's gone to one of the.
He's gone to the team doctor.
Yeah,
No.
He
But
hasn't rocked up to North Ringwood General Practice and gone, "Hey guys, my shoulder's a bit dinged up."
Shout out to North Ringwood.
That's a great general practice.
he's
but they're
he's
not
actually
dealing with Anthony Richardson.
he's getting surgery from one of the best shoulder doctors. He did Tom Brady's shoulder and everything like that.
I'm telling
He
you,
hasn't
now,
just gone to a random surgeon. He's,
they're hiding him
Is it a
because he
proper
sucks, and they
surgery,
don't want
or
everyone
is
to
it
see how
just-
badly he sucks.
I'll
That's
find
what
out.
it is. They're hiding him because he sucks.
I don't think so. I
That's
think they're
okay.
just trying to buy time.
We don't have to agree, but
It's very tinfoil hat. I like it.
what I'm saying is, it just goes back to my point that he's not good enough. He can't run the offense. Daniel Jones will be starting week 1.
I think Richardson will start week 1. I think you'll have a few weeks off. It's a
Agreed.
long time before training camp. starts.
September's so far away.
Like long
Bro,
time.
I've put it on record. It's fine.
We know.
I'm happy to eat shit when I'm wrong.
You have
It's
not put
fine.
it on record. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm
Don't
happy
put it
to
on
eat
record
shit if I'm
again.
wrong. It's fine.
All right, let's get to Brocky's Ravens. They give Rashad Bateman an extension.
This was good.
Tidy little contract from
Yeah.
them too. Like
30-something million for 3
30
years.
30
Yeah.
million 3 years. Way less than what I thought it would have
That's
been.
about average. I think that's about right. He's
I
not-
think it's great value. That's what I'm saying for both. I think he's got some good value. If he went French, though, he'd get more than that. We
I don't
know
think
that.
so. No, he wouldn't.
Christian Kirk once got 19 million.
Yeah, it's a different time though. They're not.
That was
paying-
2 years ago.
it was
Like
3.
mm,
Oh, it might have been 2.
it was 2.
No,
Yeah,
it's-
it was 2. Brocky, what do you reckon, Rashad Bateman? I know you like him.
great deal. Love the deal. Your Cowboys were trying to get him as well before the draft. You were trying to trade for him as well.
Okay.
I'm glad we got Pickens instead.
Fuck.
Not that I don't like Bateman. I just think Pickens is a better player than
Absolutely.
Bateman.
Yeah, but Bateman doesn't come with trying to fight people downfield.
Very fair. Very just nailed it.
But I think the Cowboys need a bit of that, though. They need a bit of like prick in the building, like a bit of like attitude.
There's nothing wrong with a receiver who wants to block a guy downfield. Sign me
Nah,
up.
No,
for
no,
that.
Pickens
it's more than
goes
just
beyond
blocking.
that.
That's fine.
Yeah, but they
Pickens-
need that,
I like-
'cause I think the Cowboys.
I like watching Pickens play because it's
It's
literally
the
Jekyll
emotional
and Hyde.
roller coaster of
Yeah.
what Pickens
Cowboys
is.
been a little bit soft the last couple of years, and that's a tough division now. Like they want a little bit of that sort of in the building.
Yeah,
Tough division now that the Eagles are good.
They got the Giants.
The
in it, you
Eagles
know?
have been good for a long time, buddy. Chill out.
Well,
We've been winning a lot of games for a lot of years. Chill out.
Undebatable.
Let's not upset George this week.
No, let's do it.
No, so yeah, I think it's a good move by the Ravens.
Yeah, great
Keep him
move.
in the building.
Good player, good deal, good price. Keeps him in the building. All ticks.
Gives Lamar a guy because everyone's always criticised, they don't give enough support to Lamar.
No one's surprised. The
It's a way to keep him in.
Ravens are a good organisation.
I'd rate probably Bateman a little bit lower than what you guys are. I think he's just a
I think he's a solid 2.
He's
a
a very
jag.
good number 2.
he's a jag.
Yeah, he's a solid 2.
He's got good
I
hands.
wouldn't even say he's a solid 2. I'd say he's just a 2.
Yeah, maybe. I think he had a good season last year.
Yeah, he's had a good season. He's proven that he can form in that system with Lamar, so that's fine.
I think he might be a little bit redundant with Flowers, and maybe probably try to find a different type of receiver. But
How many touchdowns did he score last year?
He had 9 receiving touchdowns last year.
Yeah, I thought it was high. That's
good.
pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. He's a red zone guy.
45 receptions, 756 yards, 9 touchdowns.
That's
From
a
your
lot of yards from 45 receptions.
You'll
Yeah.
take that from your
High
number
average.
2. No problem. Thank you very much.
Let's go. Nick Chubb, or the corpse of Nick Chubbs, has signed with the Houston Texans.
1 year deal.
He'll be the backup to Mixon. I
this is fine.
I don't
Give
hate
him
this at all.
120 touches a year. It's absolutely fine.
Or
He-
like
he's
bet-
very good for that.
ceiling here is that last year was because he hadn't recovered from a horrific
Yes.
injury.
Yep.
And he's going to get his legs back under him. And
Mm,
I know it's an outlier with running backs, but there's a chance he has that resurgence year that they need, and it gives them a really good 1-2 punch like that. Mixon's their guy, and Mixon had a great year last year.
Yep.
But Chubb gives them a really, really good number 2 in
You can
like
keep
a
him
break
fresh.
glass in case of emergency.
I think we can all agree he's not the bow cow that he was.
No.
And
Jeez,
if,
I feel so bad for him, that injury. Was
Oh, it was horrific.
but I think that you just basically have him, you cap him at 120 totes a year, and then you just try and squeeze the best out of him. And I think you take the flyer for $5 million a year or whatever it was. There's probably there's probably incentives in that. They probably can get off the contract real quickly if they wanted to. So yeah, no, it's a good flyer. They're sneaky. They've got Kirk. They took the flyer on Mixon as well. So they're starting to get some pretty good talent around Stroud, and I like their draft picks as well. So
Yeah.
Jaden Higgins, I think Jaden Higgins is going to be an outright stud.
I feel really sorry for Damian Pierce as well.
Oh, I feel
Like,
sorry.
2.5 million for 1 year. His contract is.
It's just
It might be $5 million with guarantees and
with like incentives. Maybe.
incentives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so,
just even if it's $5 million, it's nothing.
it's
You know,
literally. nothing.
for a 1 year deal, it's nothing.
Yeah.
They could cut him in preseason if they want,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it won't. Of course.
And which isn't unrealistic either. But Damian Pierce though, like hit 1,000 yards in his rookie year and look like
gone.
going to be a great running back, and just completely fallen off a cliff. there.
Mm.
Like it can't be a skill thing. Like there has to be something else going on there.
Mm.
Yeah.
A lot of it's between the ears, man.
Yeah,
At that level, it's all between the ears.
Well, maybe they just. Mixon's obviously a better running back. Than
yeah, but they traded for Mixon last year,
Yeah.
and then he's their backup, and then now they're like, no, let's bring in Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's hey, Damien, prove you better than Nick Chubb in the
Yeah.
preseason, and it's your job. Like we
Sure.
again, we have $5 million dedicated to him. We could cut him tomorrow if we want to. It's
Or
not
maybe
a-
they've just gone, oh, well, Mixon missed a lot of games last year, and then the Texans actually looked terrible without Mixon. So they go, oh, Chubb's not really super reliable, so we can just have these 3 running backs.
Yeah.
And we do see teams, sort of split share,
Yeah,
split
rotate.
I'm trying to spit it out as
share the load.
share the load.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, running
Share
back by
this-
committee.
Yeah, running
Yeah.
back by committee. Yeah. So, yeah, I still think there's a spot for Pierce. But, yeah, it's a dramatic fall off the cliff for sure.
Yeah, I said Chubb's injury was horrible. I hope he has a resurgence. I really do, because he deserves it. He was so good. He was so, if you started watching football before, like after Nick Chubb, I feel sorry for you, because his few years in Cleveland were unreal.
Yeah. I
He
agree.
was so
great.
good. Let's get to some OTA. Oh, sorry. J.K. Dobbins signs with the Broncos.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good pickup.
I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked J.K. Dobbins was on the market for this long. I thought he had a good year at the Chargers last year.
I thought so too.
Good, not great, coming off some really bad injuries.
Yeah.
I think Denver's a good spot for him. They're a team that struggle to run the ball. He's going to get plenty of
Oh, they got
opportunity.
Amelia
there.
Hampton. He's going to be very good.
But as we said before,
You get an experienced guy behind
you
him.
need a couple.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins has been around a while. He can catch the ball. He can do a lot of
Yeah,
things
that's
well.
what I think he'll do well.
I
in
think
that
he's going to
system.
fit in really nicely for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
they got
I like
Hampton
them
was in the
packages
first
out of the
round.
backfield. They'll have some stuff.
Well,
for
that's what Hampton specializes in as a receiving back. So
And you know the Chargers want to run the football. Like we know that.
the Broncos.
the Broncos.
Sorry,
will.
the Broncos.
Yeah.
Why am I?
So he played for the
Chargers?
Chargers
Played for the
last year.
Sorry, I'm so caught up. The Broncos, they struggle to run the football. They will want to run the football this
100%.
season.
Yep.
Like they know they will. Let's get to some mandatory OTA holdouts. We talked about TJ Watt, so we don't talk about him anymore. Trey Hendrickson, this isn't a surprise. My question with this is, does he play for the Bengals next year?
I think the relationship's too far gone.
I don't think there's any percentage chance that he
It's
plays for the
soured.
next year.
It's soured.
Oh, you can't
completely.
say 0. I'd say.
I guess if they pay him, but they're not
0.1.
They can't even get their first round pick to sign a contract.
Exactly.
What are the
that's my
chances of
point.
them getting
They're just
Hendrickson
They're a
back?
fucking
Yeah.
shit show of an organization. They deserve nothing.
It's
that organisation.
fallen. Like, they were in a Super Bowl 4 years ago. Or
They
5 years ago.
deserve
They
Burrow.
deserve nothing. That's fantastic.
They deserve Burrow walking into that office in 12 months' time saying, "I want to fucking trade."
Yeah, after I force
When
you
he's
to
got
sign
to-
my players, I want to trade now.
I can almost guarantee it. There will be trade rumors coming out of everywhere when he's got 2 years left in his contract. So I think when we looked it up, it was either going to be next off season or something like that.
Yep.
It's going to be every week we're going to be talking about it.
They don't make the playoffs this year, and if he plays well and they don't make the playoffs, he's asking for a trade. Clip that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Clip it.
If Henderson doesn't come back, say their defense is the same as it was last year, so pretty bad. Had some good games here and there, but overall pretty bad. What is the ceiling for that team? With
7
Joe Burrow?
wins.
Oh, you don't. Can they make the playoffs with that defense?
No.
With
What's
Joe-
their schedule?
Well, he literally-
they play
He
the.
literally played like an MVP last year, and they still couldn't make
He
it.
would if they made the playoffs. He was winning MVP.
Yeah, it's not unfair at all.
They got what, the NFC East, and what's the other team that have to go through the other division?
I'm not sure. I don't,
They're in
I don't know
there. They've got the
their
AFC North, mate.
Yeah, they're
That's
gonna play
fucking
their own
hard.
No, but I'm saying, but like their own division's obviously hard, but then you get 2 other full divisions you have to play as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but they are. I'm so torn on the Bengals. I cannot work out if one day I'm like, nah, they'll be okay. Burrow can get him into the playoffs, but then the next minute I'm like, well, he
We saw
literally
it.
played the best he could probably play last year.
We saw that movie
And
last
did-
season,
and
man.
didn't make
Like,
the
it
playoffs.
doesn't work
They lost close games because of no fault of Burrow and
because of
Well, some
leaky
of it
defenses.
some was, but kickers missing kicks,
Yeah.
defense giving up big
shit,
scores,
special teams.
like having to score 40 points to win a game.
they scored 30.
um,
They scored more than 30 wars at 33 points 3 times and lost.
Every
Yeah.
game,
Lost
yeah.
all
I think the
of them.
Bengals also play the North. I'm pretty sure this year as well.
AFC North, yeah.
NFC North.
NFC North, yeah.
Yeah, so they got Vikings, Detroit, Bears, and
Yeah,
Packers, which
I
is
do
tough.
remember vaguely that they had a real tough out of division schedule. So
He plays well. He plays it all year, and he plays well. And they miss the playoffs. He's asking for a trade.
It's not going to. I won't be surprised in the slightest. The other guy that didn't turn up to mandatory OTAs was Terry McLaurin for Washington.
Yeah, he wants
Searching
he
for a
wants
new
deal.
contract.
Yeah,
I think this contract will be done. I think it's probably
it's
a matter
fair
of
enough.
they're working through it,
I think
and he's just not coming to training because he doesn't want to get hurt, and they're just
I think
getting it done.
the contract's probably close, and they're talking about X amount per year, and he's just using his leverage
Yeah.
to
That's right.
get it.
Also understand a lot of teams when contract discussions are on the board actually tell their players, hey, the contract's not sorted out, but we're close to sorting it out.
Don't come to
Yeah,
OTAs.
miss
yeah.
a week of OTAs, doesn't matter. We'll get it sorted because
what do you
don't just
should
come
get?
here and sit here on the side. Probably the Waddle, probably more than Waddle. Is T Higgins' contract for McLaurin ridiculous?
What's Fatso Debo getting?
Well,
20,
he's on a
22.
former contract. He's on
Yeah.
like 22.
Yeah, well,
something like that.
he's probably looking at that contract going, I should be getting more than that because I'm better.
I
and
just
he
don't
is.
know. Yeah, I think so too. But I would
But
say his
McLaurin's a little
target.
bit hit and miss.
Yeah,
as well.
I'd say
he doesn't have the
I'd-
runs on the board.
No, I'd say his target zone's probably the T Higgins contract, which is what 33 million.
I wouldn't pay him that.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't have paid T Higgins that either. But you know,
No,
teams
Wow.
do
Yeah,
what
but the
teams
market's
do.
been reset. That's the point. Like,
That's it. It's not a matter of T Higgins and Jamar Chase reset the market for ones and twos.
Mm.
So if you think McLaurin, I don't think he's CD Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
no,
I think
no.
he's the tier down. So I think he's
I would-
probably in that T Higgins high end. I think he's only a 1 because of where he is.
I agree.
I'm not saying that harshly. Like,
yeah, I
like,
agree.
if he was a Cowboy, I would love him. Like, I think he's a really good player. But I think he goes to a lot of teams and he's very quickly a number 2.
sure.
A lot of teams that have a stud receiver. Like, if he goes to Steelers, he's a number 2 behind Metcalf. Metcalf is a better player.
I would say so. Yeah,
what
I'd
did
say
Metcalf
so.
get? 35 mil?
Yep.
So I think it's probably around the 30 mil mark. I think that's
Yeah.
fair. But in his mindset, if I'm his agent, I'm saying
And he's coming off his best year, so he's got all his leverage.
yeah,
right.
and
100%.
and
I
he's
100% agree.
and his agent will be saying he's a number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
He's your number 1 receiver. The market is 40 million for a number 1 receiver.
Mm.
So it wouldn't shock me if he gets like a CD Lamb 35 million. Like, it's just not going
Yeah.
to shock me. I don't think it's the right, but with the market reset, that's probably where the contract's at.
Rocky,
No, I've got nothing. He's probably around AJ Brown to Tyreek Hill, which is 29 to 27 in my opinion.
What's Debo on?
Debo is, let me find him.
Oh, here's a good comparison. Brandon Ayuk. What's Brandon Ayuk on?
Yeah, Brian Ayuk signed for a lot of money.
I think it was 28 million. Brandon
I
Ayuk.
just saw his name. Let me find it again.
Yeah.
24 and 8. 24
Oh, so that's probably not. Yeah, I would say that he's probably worth more than that.
He's wanting more than that.
Yeah, look, I think it'll be between 30 and 35. It'll be in that hitting zone. And that's just what the market's set up.
Yeah, but we saw quarterbacks not resetting the market this year.
Uh,
Darnold only got 30.
yeah,
And then the re-signings like Baker was like 33 or something. So
And-
they didn't keep pushing the market up
yeah,
higher
but
and higher.
it's because none of them were a stud. But you're right, he's
But
not a number one
McLaurin's,
guy.
I wouldn't say
Yeah,
McLaurin.
but he's not asking for 40 million.
You
He's
know,
asking
I'm
for
not saying
30.
he's going to reset the market. I'm saying
Yeah.
he's going to sit below. Like CD Lamb at 35 million is now well and truly below the market.
I would say that CD Lamb's in the tier. He's probably the third or fourth best receiver with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes,
with the
yeah,
other
100%.
two.
Well, actually, what did Amar on St. Brown get?
Oh, that's a really good comparison.
That's probably a fair comparison.
I'd say
He's the
Amon-Ra-
number one on your team and
I'd say
Amon-Ra's
Amon
better.
way better.
better, but it's the
Oh,
same sort of thing.
I like
He's a number one on your team, but if he went to a few, he's probably the 6th or 7th best receiver in the NFL.
Kamara is 17.4.
Oh, wow, that's cheap.
Is that his cap hit?
That's total cash.
Yeah, right.
That's cheap.
So, but Amar,
When was the first
St.
year
Brown's
of that?
still on his
Oh, it hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah, I
rookie
think-
extension. Yeah,
So what's next year's?
next year's 33.
Yeah, that's where I think it's at. I think it's between 30 and 35. If they can get him for that, I think with the market the way it is, that's probably a fair deal.
Pretty fair.
And I think they'll get it done. I think he plays for them next year. I can't see him being.
Oh, they're all
traded.
in. They have to pay him.
Yeah,
They have
they've
to.
traded for Debo. Their cards are on the table. He knows that. His agent knows that.
What he should
Yeah.
really be doing is when they suck next year is try to get out of there.
Yeah, it's gonna be Washington are gonna be extremely.
I think they're a
interesting next year.
train wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah,
When you-
it concerns me.
Too much.
Did they
Too
get
soon.
Tunsil as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they got Tunsil too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just it smells of we're a year too early thinking we're
Too much
amazing.
too soon.
Yeah, it's Anyway, all right, we're going to go back. That's our news for the week. We're going to go
Keep
back
going on.
to some.
Keep going on.
Yeah, the news. It was good. Good to get some stuff going on. And now that mandatory OTAs, I think the next couple of weeks we'll get some stuff coming through. Unfortunately, we're going to get some injuries come through with OTAs. It's just the nature of it. It's
Yeah,
gonna,
hope not.
It's going to suck.
It always happens though.
We play
Hope
with
not.
injuries off here, so
Yeah.
we really hope. Even the player, like even a team that I can't
Even the
stand,
49ers,
I hope
I don't
they
want
don't
them to
get
be
injuries.
healthy.
I want everyone to play with their full team. So, but what we thought we'd do again this week, we didn't get through all our teams nobody's talking about last week, so we do 3 more this week.
That
Scotty,
was really
take
good
us
last
away.
week.
It was
Yeah, I
awesome.
liked it.
Great. You know what? Great work by you last week, Scotty.
Mate,
Shout out, Scotty.
this is
Big-
what I bring.
you know what?
This is
What
what
I'm
I
big
bring.
dog.
This is what I bring.
See?
All right.
Let him have it.
He's
No,
my big dog.
little bro him. Little bro him like George did you.
No, I did George Little Bro.
Oh,
Brock, you're Billy's little bro. All right, teams that no one's talking about. I've got the LA Rams here.
Get in
So-
the corner.
no, he's muted. Fuck him. I don't give a
Nah,
fuck. He's
let
going to
him
run the show.
talk. Nah, he's got the what team is it? The Rams.
Got the Rams here. So
Oh my God.
NFL teams that no one is talking about. So we've got the Rams here. They actually traded. So Atlanta traded up to get the other edge rusher.
Was that James Pierce or whatever?
Yes.
That's Pierce Jr.
Junior, correct. And then gave up their next year's first rounder. So they can get a very juicy draft pick next year out of Atlanta.
God, Atlanta suck. The Rams have done it again. Didn't the Rams do that in the past? Didn't they trade away a top pick and then get an early pick back for it?
I didn't
the
someone-
Eagles did it as well because the Eagles gave up for get Wentz.
Yes.
For the Rams,
Yeah,
and then
because
they
Rams
had a bad
Bradford.
yeah, and then they got the pick back. They got a really good pick back.
Yeah. Yeah. So a very, very smart, savvy move there in a while we're talking about the Rams, like Stafford's probably going to be done next year. So they'll have 2 draft picks, 2 first-round draft picks, and a little bit of ammo to move up
In the
So-
same draft, which is
Yeah.
incredibly valuable,
Mm,
especially if one's like there's not
Atlanta-
It's not an unrealistic world that
I think
Atlanta
Atlanta's
picks
going to
top 5.
suck.
Mm.
That's not unrealistic.
Yeah, I'm not sold on
Oh,
Pierce.
they might not even need to trade up. They could literally
That's what I mean.
have
They,
a top 5
they might have a
pick.
top 5 pick from Atlanta.
yeah.
So,
And
and then
drafting a quarterback for sure. I agree.
I think so too. Yeah. And then in the second round, they got Terrence Ferguson, who's a tight end out of Oregon. He's a bit of a complete package tight end, not a blocking, but like a complete offensive package. Can do a little bit of everything. He had 43 receptions for 591 receiving yards. And I've deleted the tutties, but he had a few tutties as well. The superstars on the team, Puka Nacua, We've got Stafford there, and then Jared Verse, who obviously Jared Verse has been training with
We see
Aaron
that through the
Donald.
week.
So
Aaron
Oh.
Donald could just decide he wants to play football again tomorrow and be the best defensive tackle in football still. Like, he still is so big.
There's
Yeah.
he won the genetic lottery. Like,
Yeah.
let's not kid ourselves. Like,
Except for height.
that's the only thing. Yeah,
I know it sounds
how tall is he?
like 6 foot.
He's
yeah.
like 6'1", isn't he?
He's
Yeah.
probably 6'4"
That's all I'm
wide.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
he won every genetic lottery. If you're talking like purely the genetic lottery, that's the only
Yeah, but
thing he
being
wasn't.
6 foot tall puts
It's
you in
why-
like the top 10% anyway.
It's why he
So it's still
fell.
pretty good.
It's why he fell to the 13th pick in the draft because
Yeah.
of his height. 185 meters. So
Okay.
he's under 6
185.
foot. No, just over 6 foot.
Yeah.
No, that's 6 foot. 185.
Yeah.
Shout
No,
out to-
183, 6 foot.
Oh, he's just over
So
185.
shout out to Aaron
I
Donald.
don't-
He still was a
weapon.
doll.
Well, I wouldn't want to meet him.
You see that he's just and he's
I'd
trolling
love to
him
meet
as a-
him.
No, I wouldn't want to like meet him in like a brawl.
Not in an opposition way. I don't want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
No, I would. He's just a machine.
All right, coach hot seat. I've got Sean McVay. He's 80 and 52 in his career with a sweet 60% win percentage,
Nice.
which is pretty good. Um,
And
I've got a
ring, and
low.
ring.
And a ring, and he went to another Super Bowl as
Yeah.
well.
I've got a low here for the hot seat. I think it's more likely that McVay will retire before he gets fired.
That's all I'm saying. I think McVay holds his own destiny at the Rams.
Yes.
I think if he wants to leave to go to another team or retire, that's what's going to
That-
end his career at the Rams.
That's what comes up every 2 or 3 years with him. He loses the desire. Is so invested, and you see the clips and he remembers play calls that he had in high school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it just takes its toll, and that's why I sort of
Yeah,
put
he
it there.
definitely burns himself out. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, he's just a football junkie, which is fantastic, but it
Mm.
just takes a toll. And what else have we got here? The pass mark for the team. I think they got their pass mark would be 10 plus wins and make the playoffs.
I think, yes, I agree. That's their pass mark. I think it's maybe the thing that scares me and what makes the whole season for the Rams hinges on Stafford's health.
Mm.
And I know it's a hard thing to be like, what if, because he gets dinged up. He does. It's been the nature of his career. The 1 year he played a whole season, they won a Super Bowl, right?
True.
And then last year down the stretch when he got healthy, they were
Yes.
very good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it's become, it's not just like, if it was just like a Lamar being like, oh, well, if he gets hurt, it's over. There's a history of the injuries for Stafford. And that's what concerns me as he gets older. He's definitely not a young man anymore. He's in his late 30s. I think he's 38. So
Yeah.
the injuries are more likely to happen for a guy that's been injured a lot.
And I
There's
think
no doubt about that.
And I think
it piles up.
Stafford, being the gunslinger that he is/was, that he would be hot and cold, but it used to be cold for a quarter. Then he'll come out, he might throw a pick or two, and then he'll come out and throw 330 and 3 to finish the game, and they win by 2 scores. Now it's like he's cold for a game and it's not working for him.
Mm.
And it might be a crucial game where if they lose, they might not be in the playoff hunt anymore.
He
So-
can still get hot though. Down the stretch,
Oh, yeah,
last year, he got
can-
hot,
he
man.
can
Like,
As you've said yourself, if it wasn't
if
snowing
it
in that
wasn't snowing,
playoff
they win
game,
that game.
Rams had
Well,
it. They
if-
was
if-
playing so well.
Like if it literally comes down to Nakua just losing where he was on the field and
Yeah.
where the sideline was because it was
Yeah.
covered in snow, and they get that first down, who knows what happens? So
Yeah.
Agreed.
so that's the little rundown on the Rams there. I've got a fun one. This one was a lot more fun than I thought. So I've got the Tampa Bay Bucks here,
They are. You know why they're fun? I got one name for you. Baker Mayfield makes them fun.
but just
Baker,
all,
Baker, not a faker.
I mean,
He's
that.
not
I
a
love him.
faker. He's
But-
so fun.
let me go through this. I've got, they've actually got they're very intriguing in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So I'm going to butcher his name. I haven't got it right all off season. So the first round draft pick, they got Emeka Egbuka from OSU.
I think you nailed it.
He is a high floor, low ceiling. He's just extremely consistent route runner, very good route runner. But he doesn't have the elite speed or the elite quickness, which is why he's probably just going to be stuck in that middle ground
Yep.
for his career.
I'll
There.
tell you what though, if he can get open, Baker will get him the ball.
Oh, he'll get
Sure.
he'll get open, but he's not going to get open and then burn you with the ball. He's not like a playmaker with the ball after
He's
he gets it.
He's a what you see is what you get sort of guy.
It's okay.
You know,
he'll still help move the
what-
chains though.
What I think he kind of is like Tyler Lockett in like year 4 through to like 7, where he didn't have that blazing speed, but just that he knows where the quarterback needs him to get to,
Reliable.
and then he'll just get the ball. Yeah.
Also, just while we're on receivers for the Bucks,
Yep.
did you see Godwin got offered 3 years, 60 million, 3 years, 90 million, 30 a year from the Patriots and turned it down to stay at the Bucks?
Wow. Really?
Literally took a hometown discount. And his reasoning was, I only saw it this week. His reasoning was that they stuck by me through
I took care of him with the
injuries,
injury, yeah.
looked after me. They re-signed me when no one wanted me after a really bad injury.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's like, I feel like I owe them that. So
Plus, there's no
And
state tax.
yeah,
So it all evens out.
But I don't think he really wanted to go to New York.
No.
Which
Why
is
would you want
fair.
to play in the cold when you can live in Florida?
100%.
And, you got
And also you
And he's an
Your
older guy, his
family.
family, all that.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. There's so many aspects to it, but that's a lot. It's basically he took half the money. To
Yeah,
say-
right.
to start. I think it might have been 3 years, 60 million. But anyway,
But I think that's what his
he-
contract was. 3 years, 60 million.
no, I think it was 3 years, 30. He got for.
No, he got a one that I thought was overpaid. I think it was
okay.
360.
So it might be a matter of they've looked over, but it
Older-
was something like 20 mil less.
Older guy with his family established and no tax. I'm staying.
And on a team that he knows, he likes, he knows
Yeah.
the guys, he knows the building. There's something to that, right? There's something to being
Definitely.
as a full grown man, being like, I want to stay where my family is comfortable. I'm comfortable. I know the building. I know the owner. I know the coach. I know
Kids
the
go to the
GM.
same school.
I'm not uprooting my whole family, and I'm going to be successful here because I've been successful in the
I could not
past.
agree more.
So second round pick, we've got Benjamin Morrison. He's a corner from Notre Dame. He had 9 interceptions in 31 games. So he's a bit of a ball hawk.
Nice.
How many did you say?
9.
Fuck, that's good.
Yes.
That's
But
a
he's
lot.
he's like your ultimate swing for the fences kind of guy. So he's not the best in coverage. He sort of relies.
D'Angelo Hall.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
I
perfect.
loved watching D'Angelo Hall because
He will get burnt for a
Especially
60-yard
as a
touchdown,
Cowboys fan.
or he's taking one to the,
One
it
to
to
was,
the house.
I imagine it's what people like watching Trayvon Diggs now when like he'll pick you off and you're like, what the hell? And then you'll burn in the next play.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah. Well, we had plenty of discussions about that.
yeah. It's good.
So
fun.
that's exactly what he's like. He's a below average tackler. He gets burnt on good route runners, and he relies on his speed for pass breakups and picks. The stars we've sort of touched on them. So they've got Mike Evans, they've got Tristan Wirfs, Antoine Winfield, who's right up there with one of the best safeties that's unsung.
He's underrated, very similar to Buddha Baker we spoke about
Yes.
last
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
He's a lot younger than him, obviously, but
Yeah.
doesn't get talked about enough. Antoine Winfield
No.
and what he does, like the Super Bowl the Bucks won. He was as a rookie,
Yes, that's
such
right.
a massive
Yes,
part
I
of that.
remember that. Yes.
He
yes,
changed that defense that year because they were going to be a terrible defense, and he changed.
And
that
even last year when he was injured, he had a calf ankle injury, something like that. And their defense looked disgusting. And then he came back and just fortified everything. He's obviously the general on the defense there.
And Hassan Reddick did report
he
for
did,
mandatory.
yeah.
Oh,
did.
good for
He's
him.
at training. That's
And
big of
obviously-
him, I know.
And obviously, I've just thrown Baker Mayfield in there as well because he's just an absolute stud and we love him.
Can I have a question on the Stars?
Yes.
We all know how much I love Mike Evans, right?
Yep.
I feel like Mike Evans is going to leave the star status as a receiver this year. I'm not saying he's going to be bad.
I think he's going to like start slowing down.
You got to remember he's never been the fastest guy.
Mm.
He's never been the most dynamic guy. He runs
Yeah.
good routes
And he's a
in
big
certain
target.
aspects, and he's big and he doesn't drop the football.
Yeah.
Mm.
But he's never been a I'm going to gain separation with athleticism guy. It's not his game.
No.
That type, I thought if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would have thought would have started to drop off 2 years ago. He kind of surprised me with how long he prolonged that effort. I hope he doesn't. Like I hope we have another 1,500 yard, 10 touchdown season of Mike Evans. I really do because I love him.
I don't think
But-
1,500.
But I think that we're entering the Mike
start of
Evans drop off stage.
Yeah.
He's at the
We're
right
at
age
peak.
to start dropping
Yeah,
off.
I
so
think 'cause
that
when you-
doesn't-
He's going to lose a step. I think he'll become more of a red zone guy. And
I think that's probably why they invested a first round draft
Yeah,
pick
and that-
in
and
a
that's
very
fair.
good route runner
Yeah.
to I guess scheme him open a little bit
and
more.
apparently the Bucks were extremely high on Ted McMillan
Yes.
and were trying to move up to him. If he got to the teens, we're going to try and move up for him.
Yeah.
But the fact that he went 8, they were like, well, we're never going to move up
Yep.
to 8. So
Yep.
but they were high on him, which is his biggest comp is Mike Evans. So
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So,
Coach hot seat. So Todd Bowers, he's 27-24 with his career at the Bucks. I've got a little thing here. So I've got him as hot,
I agree.
and only because he hasn't taken advantage of the easy wins in the previous season. So last year they beat the Lions, they beat Philly, they actually beat Philly in the playoffs as well. I'm not rubbing it in. I'm just saying
Not
that
last year, the year before.
the year before.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so they're 2-0 against Philly in the last two. And then they beat the Chargers. They lost to Denver in round 3 with a rookie quarterback who's 3 games in. So
Probably should be winning that game.
that's a bad loss. They lost to Atlanta twice. And
that's bad because they were a fucking dumpster fire last year.
They were one of
swept
those times was when Kirk went off.
It actually
540 yards.
It kept Atlanta alive. Them sweeping them.
They did, yes.
They were terrible
And
losses.
They also lost to Dallas in round 15 when Dallas had nothing to play for. They'd already been eliminated then. So I know you can't win every game, but if you win 2 to 3 of those bad losses, well, let's say you go 2 and 3 in those bad losses.
You're a 10-win team.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no,
So,
11 wins.
11.
9. Yeah.
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 So
It looks 11 to 9 is optically a massive
far
difference.
better. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And so that's why I sort of wanted to make a point of the coach hot seat being hot, because it's like you can't be one of those teams that play up to your competition and then play down to your competition. You need to be a little bit more consistent. And if you don't find that consistency, you sort of find yourself out of a job.
It's actually a really good point because they do play really well against good teams. Like they play the shit out of us. Like we struggle so hard against them.
They beat the Lions in
Dude.
Detroit.
Yeah,
Early in the, I know it's early in the season, but like you beat a very good team when the Lions were healthy. Like
They're the ultimate lose the bad games, win the games you don't expect them to.
yes, yeah,
Like they just find a way
Terrible
to
for
get 9 or
betting.
10 wins.
terrible for betting. And so I've got a little bit more here on them. So I've got the pass mark for them. I think they need to be a 10-win team and make the playoffs. They need to win the division to keep for Bowers to keep his job.
I think he seats hotter than what people realize.
Yes.
I don't think he's that amazing a coach. Personally.
And can I the caveat for this is they have a very sneaky, tough schedule. So they have to play the NFC West, so Arizona, Seattle, Niners, and Rams, and they have to play, I think it's the North as well.
yeah,
Or they have to play the Lions because they finished first out of the North, and then Texans.
okay.
yeah. So they got
So they've got. I had a quick look, and
They've
I
got the
wouldn't be-
10th easiest schedule.
They're the easiest.
Yeah.
Have a look
Okay.
at the teams they're playing, though.
I
They're
understand
playing
the
some
teams
very
they're
good
playing.
teams.
But the teams, what it's ranked on, they're the 10th
yes,
easiest.
but that's their
Their,
divisions.
I don't-
their Vegas is 9 and 5. 9.5 games.
Yeah,
is their
have a
win
look at the
total.
teams they're playing, though. They've it's like I said, it's sneaky hard. So
Okay.
I
fair.
had a quick just win loss, and I wouldn't be shocked if they win 5 to 6 next year.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
personally.
That's a big drop off, man.
Yeah,
5 games.
pull up their schedule. They're genuinely like you can look through and they've got a lot of tough games and they're not going to win all of them.
Yeah, because you can't bet that they're going to win all. Yeah,
No.
that's fair.
I mean, they can't even beat Atlanta twice. So
Yeah.
I just think that the wild card for them is Baker. I think you have him; it gives you an opportunity to win a lot of football games.
Sure.
yes,
I agree.
Because
Yes,
he
absolutely.
is the ultimate wild card at quarterback.
yes, yeah, and like
And he's fixed up his turnovers too, which is a big thing for him as well. So,
But now
that's
he's
good.
lost they've lost Canales and Cohen, which are 2 very good
Yeah, I agree.
offensive
Yep.
minded coaches. Can you zoom that in so we can sort of go through? So they've got Atlanta 50-50. Then they're at Houston, probably a loss. They got the Jets, probably a win.
Win.
They got Philly, probably a loss.
No,
at
where's that?
Tampa Bay.
In Tampa, yep.
No, they'll win that. We won't beat them there.
All right. Then they're at Seattle. That's actually Seattle's 50th anniversary game. So you probably think that they're going to win that game. Home for 49ers, at Detroit. Then they got the Saints. Cool. Easy win. Patriots week 10, which could be frisky. Then they're at Bills, at Rams, got Cards at home, and then Saints.
Yeah, some
Then-
tough games there.
And then they go Falcons, Carolina, Dolphins, Carolina
Yeah.
to finish it all off.
So,
So-
some tough games.
They-
Some
they got
tough
some-
games there. Yep.
They got some pretty tough games there. So, like I
Cross-country
said,
games,
you
yeah.
look at that in a snapshot, and you wouldn't be shocked if they have 5 or 6 wins in the season, and Bowles is gone.
Yep. Sneaky. They'll definitely need to win the division for him to keep his job. That I
Yeah.
agree with for sure.
Yeah,
And
So-
especially that shit division, the expectation in the building will be that, like, we're going to win the division.
yes, yeah. So I'm just
Because I know you guys are high on Carolina, but I don't see them doing anything.
buy
this
more
year.
stock. I'm telling you,
You
It's-
back off Carolina right now.
And like Atlanta, it's all going to hinge on Penix.
No, their defense is disgusting.
Yeah. So Penix is going to have to play out of his skin. He's
I
going to have
don't
to
think
be.
Atlanta. I thought Atlanta would be good last year. I'm right off them.
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
they're
I think
good
they're going
at
to
all.
suck personally.
It's too hard to turn around
And the
the whole
Saints,
defense.
are actively going to try and lose every game they possibly can. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The expectation in the building would be that, we're a 10 or 11 win team and we're going to win the division.
They should be looking to sweep their division because I guarantee you they don't feel the same way about Carolina that we do.
No.
But they will be looking
Or
for
anyone
to beat-
else.
Yeah.
No one else thinks about it. It's just
No, I've seen
it's
it coming. I think people have been listening to us. I've seen some stuff coming
I
out.
think it's just you two guys. I've heard nothing good about it.
I'm all about the Panthers.
Shut up, Brock. You can't join.
Keep pounding. I've been on the Panthers for years now.
pounding.
He's a big
Keep
Cam Newton
pounding.
guy.
Yeah.
The Hobbits,
No, I
I
don't
love
know.
my Superman.
the Hobbits stick together.
Oh, stop attacking.
What fuck me for?
No. Just
it's a
the
joke,
schedule.
sure.
I've just got. I don't know about what it is. That I just find the schedule and I just go. There's no real tough. Like there's no real easy outs there
Easy
apart
wins,
from
yeah.
Prediction
New Orleans.
here: Tampa Bay Bucks, Carolina Panthers, Week 18 for the division.
For the division.
yeah.
Clip that. Wow, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, what's your last team, Scotty?
Sorry, I forgot that I was so involved
It's
there.
the
The Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders, your boys. This is
Yeah.
surely your second team now.
Nah, it's not. No.
With Gino
No,
and Petey Boy.
Nah.
Petey taking his shirt off and
I'm-
flexing.
I'm all about the Raiders. I reckon they're really going about this the right way.
Yeah, they are. But
Won't be next
where
year.
you see them now is where they probably will be in year 2 to 3. I think you've got them too high now.
No. I'm not going to have them too high in terms of like wins. I have them. I'm just high on them as in their the restructure of the organization, and they're just like done a 180 and actually started running it like a proper fucking.
Is there no
organization.
world they can't be a Chargers from last year?
And win 10 games?
Yes, I think so because the Chargers still had a lot more talent.
Well, they had Herbert. No disrespect to Gino. I like Gino, but
I like Geno
Herbert
too.
is a much better player.
But Geno's changed situations.
Herbert's
So
much better player than Gino.
the Seattle situation was probably more quarterback friendly where it was than where the Raiders are now.
They also could not protect him at all, which is going to have similar problems.
Yes.
with the Raiders. Now he does a great job of surviving with
He
lack
does,
of
but he
protection.
doesn't have a JSN or a Metcalf or a Lockett to throw to.
No,
which
he's got Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, and then
elite.
a chasm.
Mm.
Oh, bet is right. Anyway, so let's rip into him a little bit more, and then we'll see what we think. So, they obviously drafted Genty, who's just a stud of all studs in as one college season goes. He had
Can I say one thing on Genty?
Yep.
I don't think I am more excited to watch a player this season right now than Genty for a long time. It's giving me the same feeling when the Cowboys drafted Zeke. I didn't like the pick, but I was like, shit, this is going to be fun. I have that same feeling. Like, I cannot wait to see this guy play.
I've called off on him a little bit.
I think he's going to take it by storm. I truly think he will.
I still think he's going to be very, very good, but it's almost like the expectation's so high now
Yeah,
that
that's fair.
I'd be more shocked if he's a bust. Let's be honest. Like,
Yeah. I don't think he's going to suck. I would be like devastated if he sucked.
oh yeah, absolutely. He had 2,600 rushing yards for 29 tutties. Interesting note here: he had 279 carries in the last 9 games.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, that's a
That's
lot.
a lot of carries.
That is a lot. So there's
I don't think that'll affect him until 5 years in, until he gets his massive contract.
the year before
Like-
this massive,
like it
contract.
always happens.
He should have won the Heisman too. I would have won a lot of money on that.
I agree. He should have won the Heisman, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah. No. So and then in the second round was Jack Betch, who was the LSU receiver turned
Yeah.
TCU receiver because he had obviously some very, very, very
Questionable.
yeah. No. His brother was part of the New Orleans terrorist attack, so he left the city. He couldn't be part of the city.
Oh, not like off-field issues.
No. So yeah. So
Had some emotional issues.
yeah, that's right. So he just had to leave the city if he wanted to play football. So it's actually really quite sad. So he had 62 touches, 62 receptions for just over 1,000 receiving yards and 9 tutties.
Nice.
He plays bigger than his frame. He's only at 6'1", but he seems to always just body receivers and get to the drop of the ball quite well. He's got fantastic ball skills and a really good catch radius, but he's just got slightly below average speed and no acceleration or bursts in and out of his cuts. So he's sort of like a Drake London, Mike Evans-esque
Sure.
kind of receiver. I'm not going to say he's going to hit that, but that's the sort of mold that you're looking at there. The stars that you got there at the Raiders, obviously Max Crosby. They've put Christian Wilkins down, but I couldn't really find anyone else on their list, to be honest. So I just left him there. And obviously Brock Bowers is
Mm-hmm.
an absolute stud. Coach Hot Seat is obviously minuscule to low. Pete Carroll obviously hasn't coached at the Raiders yet, but I have their pass mark being they probably want to be a 5-win team. But more importantly, you want to see the change in the culture, and you want to see the characteristics of Carroll's past Seattle team coming through, and then you can see the blueprint coming for the next 2 to 3 years after that.
100% correct.
Next season for them is very little about wins and losses.
Yep.
And it's more about developing their young talent.
Yep.
And then the culture. change.
Establishing the culture.
Yeah.
100%. On and off.
And that's why, honest God, like when we were doing the potty ages ago, like I'm like, Gino's gone. He's gone to Vegas.
Yeah.
Because Carroll needs to have his guy. Gino's his guy who buys into the culture, and the culture comes down. The coach can only get it so far. The players really need to drive. And when your leaders are quarterbacks and Crosby and all these other guys that buy into the culture and that sells it to the rest of the team, that's how you change these teams that have been perennial dumpster fires for as long as I can remember.
Is the key, man. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And Carroll, he can talk the talk and walk the walk. He's proven that his defense was elite for a long time. It got a little bit outdated, but he's done it. He's got the runs on the board. So
yeah. I also think just on them as well, they need to get more out of Christian Wilkins next year. The money they paid him to come over from Miami, the fact that Miami was so just happy for that amount to be like, yeah, we're all good. He needs to pay them back this year because his first year there was pretty bad.
It's always hard as a defensive tackle. That's why you shouldn't really pay him that ridiculous amount, because
there's a rare few you should.
Yeah, but like if you're getting double teamed and you're eating the double team, you're freeing up another defender to make a play. But there's no stat for that. There's not a quarterback pressure. There's no tackle for a loss. There's nothing for that. So it's a tough one. But I do agree with your point that he wasn't the game wrecker that he was at Miami to get that contract. And I think
they need him to pay him back next year. He needs to come and show them.
Or he's probably gone, I reckon.
I think you'll find a lot of players will be up and about this year playing.
Yeah.
I think that's a coaching change would definitely help it instead of having
100%.
bloody.
Also, Jeremy Chin just feels like a Pete Carroll guy.
Yeah, I like Jeremy Chin.
That was a good sign.
And to that note as well, Eric Stokes from Green Bay.
Yep.
Never could really get a spot at Green Bay. They just always had a few guys. Former first round pick, hasn't played badly for Green Bay, but just never was a star, so they weren't willing to pay him that
I bet
money.
they wanted to keep him now that they cut Alexander.
Yeah, probably. But he's extremely versatile. Can play nickel DB, can play safety, can play both safety positions.
Yep.
I reckon Devin White will have a bit of a resurgence.
And Devin White, I've got a Devin White signed helmet. I really like Devin White. I
really want him to be. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he might have run his race, but I think Raiders are going to be interesting.
And don't undersell Tom Brady in the building as like the head of football too. Like he'll be a key cog to changing the culture as well.
I think so as well. All right, I think that's it for
that's all the teams I got
all
for
the
this
teams. Guys, if you had a team that you want us to talk about, a team that you don't think anyone's talking about, your team maybe.
Yeah, hit us up. Absolutely.
Hit us up. That's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. Shout out to the men's table. Thank you very much for sending these caps,
We've also got something big in the works for next week as well.
Yes, we've got. So there'll be more mental health stuff.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the other thing.
What's the other thing?
We're keeping that under wraps.
Oh, we keep it under wraps.
I don't know what thing we're talking about. We've got so many things in the go. Let's keep it under wraps. Oh, yeah, sorry. We've got an interview next week. My bad. Sorry. Well, we didn't talk about it before. I'm interviewing Laurie Horish from ESPN.
Yep.
I've had Laurie on before. He's an absolute legend. He does the ESPN morning show. I've forgotten the American guy's name, but he's actually terrific. And I wish I'd remember his name. But they do it on a Monday morning, like after the games.
Yep.
It's awesome. So I'll be interviewing him on the weekend. So he'll be the main part of our show next week, and we'll do some news and stuff around it.
Love it.
Yeah, Laurie, he's a genuine legend. Big Cowboys guy, so you can hear us.
You guys,
nuppies. He's more like me. He's more the pessimist than he is the optimist. So he's terrific. So we'll have him on next week. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to the men's table again. We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
and we're having more men's health stuff coming. So reach out to us, guys, if you need anything.
Or reach out to
Men's Table.
Men's Table.
Menstable.org is their website.
Instant help, Lifeline 13, 11, 14 as well, if you need anything as well.
Love it. Thank you, Brock.
Peace out, everyone. See you next week.
Ciao.
Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.
Thank you.
I hope the Eagles lose on a call.